Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
And a pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Mario Jerez and Taylor Sharp. Thank you for spending your lunch break with us here today. Ronnie Rantz with us here in about 15 minutes. LSU is down at Tulane tonight. Talk some LSU baseball with Ronnie. Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas. In the at the bottom of the hour, Colucci out at the South Point in the Rampart. We got the NBA play-in starting this week. A little recap of the Masters, plus some early season baseball and the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs rather, are going to start next week. So we'll talk with Colucci. We start off. First of all, congratulations to the two LSU women's basketball players that were drafted last night. LaDasia Williams went 17th overall to Indiana. She was the third of 5 picks by the Fever. They also had the first pick in the draft when they took Aaliyah Boston. They were the worst team in the WNBA last year at 5-31. And then Alexis Morris went 22nd overall to the Connecticut Sun. Connecticut made the finals last year, lost in 4 games to the Aces, Las Vegas Aces. And they did not have a pick in the first round, so they took Morris with their first pick, which was number 22 overall. Be honest with you, first time I ever tuned into the WNBA draft, and I didn't just do it to see what Mulkey was wearing. I wanted to see where they went. So congratulations, Williams. I think went a little bit higher than she was projected. Morris maybe a little bit lower than she was projected, but both of them will have a chance to extend their careers. So. Congratulations to both of them. Kind of a tale of 2 different games tonight for LSU baseball and softball. So baseball's going down to Tulane. And I can vividly remember when these midweek games between LSU and Tulane in the early 2000s, late 90s to early 2000s, even all the way up to about Katrina, when the Tulane baseball program really, it took a gut punch that honestly they've never recovered from. But for about that 5 or 6 year period, this was about as contentious, high level midweek game as you would see. It is not the case anymore. LSU, of course, is number 1 in the country. Tulane 9-23 on the season. They're 0-7 against top 50 teams. Their best win is against Washington, who's number 65 in the RPIs, and 2 wins against Columbia. Yes, that Columbia. And they're coming off losses, 2 out of 3 to South Florida. They promoted a coach in Jay Ullman who was on the staff of the guy that they fired. So that gives you an idea of how attractive the job is now. I honestly can't remember a time where, unless the coach was fired for something other than the results. I've seen where coaches got fired for doing things off the field. The guy gets arrested for something or he gets in trouble. They promote the assistant and maybe the assistant stays. Or Bill Frieder. Bill Frieder was at Michigan. He says, well, I'm going to Arizona State, but I'll do that after the tournament. I'll coach out my year here. And Bo Schembechler said, to hell you will. Get out. Promoted Steve Fisher. Fisher won the national championship, kept the job for a long time. This was a case where Travis Jewett, who had come to them from Vanderbilt, was not winning. It wasn't terrible. They still had an above 500 overall record, but they had really sunk. So they fired him. They said it was mutual. They fired him. They promoted his assistant. Whenever you're promoting assistants from the guys that you fired, the things have fallen on hard times. So LSU's a pretty significant favorite tonight. Softball game is fascinating, though. LSU's playing Oklahoma tonight, Tiger Park. One game, one midweek game. against the number one team in the country. Now, ordinarily, midweek games for softball are just like they are for baseball. You play state schools. You have to. The proximity, it just doesn't it doesn't make sense, financially or otherwise, to bring in teams very often. So you play Louisiana Tech, you play UL Monroe, you play Southeastern, you play McNeese. That's who you play because that's who can get here and get back and go to school the next day. But this is one of these little quirks in the schedule where Oklahoma has a non-conference week. I don't know if it's because they're on spring break. I don't really care. They're going to Miami of Ohio, of all places, this weekend to play in a tournament. They're favored, okay? Patty Gasso is in her 29th season at Oklahoma. You don't have to care at all about softball to be able to appreciate what I'm about to tell you about Oklahoma. This is just dominance at a level of collegiate team sport dominance that you just don't see. Patty Gasso's in her 29th season. She's been at Oklahoma so long that when she started, Oklahoma was in the Big Eight. Okay, so we're going back a little bit. In 28 seasons, she's made the College World Series 15 times, won 6 national championships, and had 2 runners-up. They are the 2-time defending national champions. Their record the last 2 years overall is 115-7. They're 36-1 this year. They have lost more than one conference game 0 times since 2015. Let me say that again, okay? Since 2015, they have never lost more than one conference game. They haven't lost more than 2 since 2012. We're going back a decade now where nobody can touch this team. This is not, they rode one really good pitcher. Sometimes you can do that in softball. Or they had a good run of seniors. No. They've been beating the stew out of everybody for, pretty much since she's been there. So you say, Southeastern Conference pretty good in softball. And they are. I mean, there have been years where they've had 8, host sites, national seeds, where everybody in the conference that plays, Vanderbilt doesn't play, but everybody else plays, everybody made the tournament. So this is what Oklahoma's done against the SEC this year. Played A&M, run ruled them. Played Kentucky, run ruled them, 18-0, 7-1 in the second game. Played Mississippi State, beat them 7-0, 9-3. Played Auburn, run ruled them in the first game, 14-0. Beat them in the second game, 7-1. So the closest in 7 games, against SEC teams, nobody has been within 6 runs of these people. Okay. Now, what do they do in conference? Good. So they beat Texas Tech last week. In 21 innings, Texas Tech scored 0 runs. That's not good. Weekend before that, they played Texas, who is in the top 10. Texas softball teams in the top 10. Oklahoma beat them all 3 games by a total of 22-6. They're real good, okay? And what Patty Gasso has done, there's not very many comps, in team sports, okay? The gymnastics coach at Oklahoma, whose name I don't know, maybe. Gino Auriemma, Pat Summit, in her heyday, maybe. But this is, from my limited knowledge of softball, potentially the greatest softball coach that has ever lived. They're right down the street tonight. I think the game is sold. I'm pretty sure the game is sold out. But it's on ESPN2. This will be interesting to watch. I can't tell you that I'm glued to softball a lot. I watch in the postseason, and I watch some of the big conference games. But this, I want to see, because Oklahoma they're beyond the gold standard. Or whatever the gold standard is, they're 3 notches up from that. So, baseball and softball tonight. LSU football back on the practice field this morning. Brian Kelly with a little update on how spring practice is going.
So it was important that we kind of made sure that we hit it with another coat of paint, if you will, because we didn't want to move too quickly past some of the real important principles of building our program and our process. So we've gone slowly. We've kind of gone over the same things that we did last year with this team, so we're building that foundation stronger. But we had a lot of new faces that we wanted to make sure we got things right with them. And I'm glad we did, because there were some things that were not exactly the way I wanted them in terms of the way we practiced the first few days, and they've picked up and understand that now.
Last year, they were in the getting to know you phase. This year has been the longest spring practice that I can ever remember. And they did it on purpose, and I think it's a great idea. More time in between the practices. They're just again they're putting in the things, the core beliefs that they want. They don't have all their players. They don't have anything close to all their players, but the ones that are out there, it seems like they are getting. It feels like a summer school type of schedule, but spread out. Like you're doing this every day. Like you got to go to summer school every day when you're in college instead of 3 times a week like you do in a regular semester, except that it's every day for probably twice as long. That's what it seems like here. Hopefully that'll pay dividends. The other thing that they've got going for them here in the spring is this gives them I think a wide-angle lens at what the roster looks like. They know what they're missing from injuries and the guys that aren't here yet. It does give them a chance to fill in the holes. Places on the roster where backups are getting significant reps in spring to where you know if you can count on them. And that's important in regards to the transfer portal, because whatever they don't have on the roster right now that is not going to be fixed by what is coming back in the fall, they got to go out and fill in the transfer portal, and Kelly addressed that.
There's a couple of needs on defense, and I think we're still, maybe interested on the offensive line. I think there's still an interest to add to our offense. But I would say that we're guarded at this period of time as to, somebody that's going to make a difference in an LSU football lineup. These are probably going to be guys that can add depth to what you're doing. I don't think you can go out there swinging for, a starter that's going to come in and change the trajectory of your starting lineup. These are guys that can contribute and be part of your depth. And I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
He says depth, I think linemen. Never have enough linemen. I can find probably another back, and I can find another receiver. I can find another defensive back. When you say depth, I think linemen. And, if he's talking about offensive linemen first, that's great. So we'll see what they can add after the spring. But Brian Kelly and the LSU football team continuing with their spring practice. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk with Ronnie Rantz. LSU baseball against Tulane tonight, and what the Tigers are facing going into a weekend series against Kentucky that starts on Thursday. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd.
at the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Ochsner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah. Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 104.5ESPN.com. Join us now, Ronnie Rantz. Of course, he is, a former LSU baseball player, director of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, owner of the Baton Rouge Rougarou, and color commentator for this two of this weekend's games with LSU in Kentucky. Did I forget any titles there, Jumbo? I feel like I'm introducing Apollo Creed here.
Well, I mean, it's the host of Sports Shorts Radio every Saturday morning from 10 to noon on 104.5.
I should have led with that. I should have led with that. Buzzy Heidel's caddy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, listen, speaking of Buzz, I went last Friday to the Masters. I went just one day, went over with some folks, some friends of mine, thanks to Rescom, and we went over there, and I saw Buzzy on hole number 10. He was sitting in his chair. He's a gallery guard. He was in the fairway to the left, and I'm pretty sure, Charles, when I walked up to him, he was sleeping. Like, I think he had the hat down and was taking a nap. I'm not sure, but it looked like it from afar.
Well, Buzzy's going to be on the show with us on Thursday of this week, so I'm going to do a little LSU baseball with him too. But I also want Masters stories because he's got to have some for being the marshal there. Jumbo, let's start with what I'm going to call the emerging LSU pitchers because I think in the last 2 weeks, particularly for Gavin Guidry, we've seen two guys at LSU is going to have to really count on much more heavily in the second half of the SEC season. Guidry and Griffin Herring. I thought Guidry, that was a real tight spot that he got LSU out of in the second game against South Carolina. That's a big-time pressure situation. And Herring now has 7 innings in SEC play, and he's only given up 1 run. So you tell me what it's like for those guys to make that jump when you're a freshman and all of a sudden halfway through the season, now you're being counted on for really significant innings.
I mean, obviously for Guidry, it's even more of a jump than for Herring because, I mean, he came here as a Gatorade Player of the Year, and everybody thought he would get on the field more as an infielder as opposed to a pitcher. The pitching thing was kind of, I think, a little bit of a fallback. He had a tough fall wasn't swinging extremely well. It just had that rough freshman fall. Not everybody turns out to be, a superstar like a Dylan Cruz or a Todd Walker as a freshman right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And so I think while they made the decision, it's hard for him to get on the field right now as a freshman with his play and with the other guys we have in front of him. So where's another option? Well, he's got a big-time arm. Let's work him in the bullpen. And then as it's worked out with for him, all these other injuries and guys not living up to the, performances that they were expected to have, that's given him more and more opportunity. And he's, 92, 93, very over the top with the fastball, throws a lot of strikes. And then he's got that really sharp kind of cutter slider, which breaks more down as opposed to right to left. And, playing at Barb, a big-time program, the premier really high school baseball program in the state, and they play everybody. They play a tough schedule. He's used to good crowds. He seemed to be undaunted at South Carolina in a giant spot on Friday.
All right, so let's move on to, and I agree with everything that you're saying there. I think that guy is going to be a real important piece moving forward. Now let's talk about Griffin Herring. He's pitched a little bit more than Guidry has. Jumbo, when I hear Jay Johnson talking, when I look at how they have used these guys so far, I think of Guidry as a reliever, maybe even a short reliever, maybe even a closer at some point. But Griffin Herring may be being groomed to start. Do you get that impression that, somewhere in the near future that could be his role?
It makes sense if you look at him with his abilities, the way he pitches. He's got, starter, long reliever written all over him. And Jay Johnson explained, because I was a little surprised. I thought they might go Herring in the third game against South Carolina. They identified Little as being the starter before the series even happened. And then he explained that over the weekend by saying, look, his pitch count really quite wasn't up yet. We hadn't really groomed him. We didn't want to just throw him into the frying pan. And I think that's probably a good move. But I think very shortly, based off of unless Hurd somehow magically turns things around, that you got to at least try Herring as that third starter if you can.
All right, let's talk about getting some guys back that they were counting on. They've had a rough go, and now they're trying to work them back in. And that's Christian Little, who was okay last week against Nichols. I thought he got a little bit of bad luck with one of those balls down the line. And Thatcher Hurd, who really has struggled now in multiple outings. How best to work those guys back in, rebuild the confidence, and find roles where they can help this team?
Well, here's the thing, Charlie, is that I don't think there is a way you can ease them back in and you can coddle them a little bit. You can give them 2-3 weeks to feel good about themselves in midweek or in lesser pressure situations. LSU just doesn't have the depth. I mean, with the injuries right now, in my mind, you've got two starters in Floyd and Skeens. You've got Herring, you got Guidry, and you got Riley Cooper. Those are the only five that I feel like they kind of know what they're going to get out of all those guys. Everybody else is a crapshoot, and we're mainly talking Little and Hurd, and so and then the rest are hurt. And so I think at this point you just have to you got to keep rolling them out there and pressure. They have to. Little and Hurd have got to figure it out. Like this LSU team can't go where it wants to go, can't win a national championship if Hurd and Little are just pitching on Tuesdays or they're the 9th, 10th guy on the team. Like Hurd is getting too much NIL money. He's too big. He's supposed to be a first-round pick next year. Like he's supposed to be too good for 5 bad outings, which he's done this year. And so I don't think you have the luxury of easing them back in. You just have to keep throwing them back into the fire or the deep end of the pool and hope they can swim, and because they have the ability to turn it around.
How concerned are you about Ty Floyd? I'm looking at him pitch, and he doesn't give up a lot of hits. He really doesn't. If you just looked at his ratio, and you looked at the number of hits to number of innings pitched, 19 to 34. Well, that's pretty good. Then you add in the walks, and it's too many walks with 14, but you're still below one base runner per inning if you add the hits and the walks. That's whip. But he's hit 9 guys, and it seems like, I don't know, this is just me exaggerating, but it seems like 8 of the 9 guys that he's hit have come around to score.
Right.
So
Right.
what is your level of confidence / concern in Ty Floyd right now?
Well, I think definitely Ty Floyd is being probably put in a spot where, like, he's the number 2 starter on this team, and he probably shouldn't be, right? But they don't have another option. He's probably at best a Sunday guy, and I really thought going into the season he might be a back-end guy, for them, ideally. But, again, here's the one thing I happened to be yesterday in Dallas, Texas, and I went to DBU, Dallas Baptist University, and I talked to their head coach. And he was telling me about Wes Johnson. He has some history with Wes Johnson, knows Wes Johnson well. And he said the thing about Wes Johnson that he does so well is that you can have a bad outing or you can be having some problems, and you can go in that 30-minute meeting in his office, and he's going to outline a plan of how we're going to fix things and we're going to get better. And and then you walk out of that office believing that you're the guy again. And you got tremendous amount of confidence. And we're just, one good outing away from getting this thing turned around. And I think that's a good thing with these pitchers, because when we talk about Hurd and Little and Floyd, there's nothing physically wrong with them. They just need to tweak. They need some confidence. They need to find some consistency. And so we're going to see, what Wes Johnson's made of, because, he's a fantastic pitching coach. From everybody in the world around the country says that. And now it's mental, and it's probably a little small tweak here and there for those guys.
Ronnie, if you had been in a 2-month nap and just woke up and only heard this segment, you'd think LSU was like 15-15 or something, right?
Right.
But with all of those things, they're still the consensus number 1 team in the country, have been since the beginning of the season, have won every series, except the one that they split. So you do have a certain amount of leeway here where with this lineup, I mean, if Jordan Thompson's going to hit the way he hit at really has hit most of the year, but especially in the last couple of weeks, then you've got an awful lot of slack in the rope for the pitching staff. There's room for mistakes. There's room for experimentation if they're going to hit the ball like this.
No, it's the best lineup LSU's had since 1997. There's no question about that, or 2000. I mean, both of those teams are just unbelievable hitting teams. And this is on that level, okay? And there's a number of big leaguers on this team. But, Charlie, the pitching thing, I mean, I'm all, I am concerned. I think they got bailed out on Saturday by that game get canceled. Like, I don't, how can they win that game, based off of what we see? I mean, if Dugas doesn't hit that grand slam, I mean, like Dugas has been unbelievable. Yes, yes, Cruz is the MVP, he's the best player in the country. But and yes, Tommy White's done everything he thought he would do, and he lived up to the transfer portal and the billing as the best guy in the portal. But Dugas is like, is there a heart and soul award? He gets that. Where would this team? I mean, look at the 3-run homer at Texas in the 9th and the grand slam at South Carolina. Just those 2 swings alone, or 2 wins that could have been losses. And if LSU had gone 0-2 and not played the rainout game on Saturday, they wouldn't be number 1 in the country, and we would feel differently. There is a crisis right now with the mound. Paul Skeens can't pitch every game. What's going on with Shores and Edwards and Ackenhausen? Like, those 3 guys being out, and they were all so good, is gigantic. And because your replacement is just question marks, maybe Herring's the answer. Maybe Guidry can be good. Maybe Cooper can get back to where he was last year and not this year. Maybe Floyd can figure it out. Like, those are giant question marks in a league that's super tough. And then when you get to a super regional, you got to win 2 out of 3. Skeens can only pitch once. And by the way, LSU's 2-2 in the last 4 games that Skeens has started. So they are, they're not invincible when he's on the mound.
Yeah, that ain't his fault either, for the most part. But when you say Shores, Edwards, Ackenhausen, you just listed them in the order of my confidence in getting them back from least to most. I think it's least likely that they get Shores back, Edwards in the middle, and most likely that Ackenhausen is most ready to pitch soon. But we don't know any of those things for sure, and I'm not sure that the staff has got a complete medical eval that they are willing to go with for the rest of the season. They're waiting to see in a couple of cases. One more thing before I let you go. Brady Neal has caught pretty much every game this season. He started 26 out of the 31, and he's done some great things. And I love the kid's potential, but I am starting to wonder if he's starting to wear down. He's supposed to be a senior in high school right now. The freshman wall is real. I'm wondering when you look at him catch as a receiver, how you think he's holding up, and if they may work Milazzo in a little bit more, just to kind of give Neal a breather a little bit as we make the turn for the second half of the SEC.
I'm all in favor of getting Milazzo more opportunities, and that's no slight on Neal. That is just the fact that Milazzo, I think, is that good. And oh, by the way, offensively, he's been a real pleasant surprise this year. So I think it would benefit them tremendously to get Milazzo in there a little bit more, to give Neal some breathing room. And look, even Jay Johnson mentioned that earlier this year, that he was guilty in the past of maybe riding catchers a little too hard or whatnot. And so I would say that's something to watch for. And look, I mean, Milazzo defensively is as good as they get in college. Maybe it's a situation where when Skeens pitches, maybe you want Milazzo in there because, you can win a game 1-0 with Skeens on the mound, and blocking that ball or throwing that guy out, especially on a Friday night when they're going to have a good pitcher as well, maybe something to consider. But I'll say this: Brady Neal hasn't shown any signs of being tired. I mean, he looks fine to me.
Jumbo, we always appreciate the time. Have a good call on the 2 games this weekend. I'll let you get back to reviewing Casey McKenzie's skydiving insurance policies now. I'm sure that's right on your desk.
Well, his rib has just healed from falling off the bull, so we're going to figure out the next. What will Casey do, to promote the Rougarou?
Got it. All right. Jumbo, thanks a lot. We'll
Charlie.
talk to you soon. All right, Ronnie Rantz be on the call for 2 of the 3 games with LSU and Kentucky this weekend. We'll take a break. Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas. When we return, Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big Mike's in Denham Springs with your hot ball crawfish 7 days a week, coming out at 11 a.m. every day. We're getting at that point in the season where crawfish are getting bigger. If you had a chance to enjoy some over the holiday weekend, maybe you can get some more this week at Big Mike's. Live music every weekend. Ball shrimp on Monday nights, all you can eat. Happy hour drink prices start at 3 o'clock, 3 to 7, Monday through Friday, and all day on Sunday starting at 11 o'clock. So if you're going out to watch baseball on one of the 40 TVs or golf or NASCAR or any of the sporting events, happy hour drink prices all day on Sunday. Big Mike's available for off-site catering and for your private events, multiple size party rooms available there. And we will be at Big Mike's tomorrow night for Jimmy Ott's Game Time, so we invite you to join us there at 6 o'clock. Big Mike's in Denham Springs on Aspen Boulevard. We're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
On Wednesday's OTB. What happened on both the softball and baseball diamonds? Plus, night one of the NBA play-in is in the books. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m. 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Handycast today is on the NFL draft. Kuiper's got another mock out. There's a lot of news going around. A trade today that went down between the Lions and the Falcons with Jeff Okudah moving to Atlanta. And a lot of speculation about the third pick as the NFL draft's a couple of weeks away. That's on the podcast this afternoon. Let's bring in our friend Dwayne Colucci from the South Point and the Rampart. Colucci, how you doing?
Doing good, Hanny. How was your Easter, my man?
Man, it was fantastic. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with family and watched a little bit of golf. What was the reaction on the Masters? Because it was kind of an uneven weekend. Not a lot of golf on Saturday, a ton of golf on Sunday. A lot of storylines, but not really what you would call an exciting finish. Rahm kind of put this thing to bed with 4 or 5 holes to go. So what was the reaction of the Masters and the handle, what it was like?
Well, the handle was really good, Charlie. But like you said, a lot of people were looking for all the excitement on Saturday, and then you carry everything over to what is basically a holiday on the Sunday. So you have a lot of spectators that are at home sharing time with family and friends. But like you said, the excitement was really a bit lacking. And then you had Tiger withdraw. Big names like McIlroy, Thomas didn't make the cut. So it was a very strange type of Masters year. The handle was off the hook because, we put up so many fabulous, props, and the betting menu at the Rampart and South Point was so expensive with round-by-round matchups, adjusted odds, several propositions. So, yeah, there was some excellent interest. But I do believe that it lacked a little excitement rolling down the stretch. Like, a lot of these tournaments have become synonymous with great final rounds. And this just wasn't there. And you did have the cluster of everybody having to play complete rounds on Sunday and everything. And the weather conditions were just horrible, trees falling all over the place. So it did, kind of tarnish it a bit.
All right, NBA play-in starts tonight. We got the Hawks and the Heat. We got the T-Wolves and the Lakers, minus Rudy Gobert. And then tomorrow night, 2 more games, including the Thunder and the Pelicans. Any of these games either generating a lot of one-sided action or anything that you particularly like in any of the 4?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be honest with you. The Lakers are definitely going to see a lot of action. Once you had Gobert, the announcement there where he's suspended. Plus the other kid, McDaniels, I believe, broke his hand, and he is so exceptional at guarding LeBron James, and he's punching walls on the way out. It's kind of, does Minnesota really want to be in this situation? And we opened the Lakers at 6.5 at the Rampart South Point. It's now up to 8.5. I mean, you could definitely cover this game because there are some, holes in the Lakers game, and Minnesota could possibly take advantage. But now you're down 2 guys, and you're playing in the Crypto Center, the old Staples Center. It's going to be very difficult. We're seeing a ton of action on the Lakers, as we always do, and a lot of futures action, Charlie, down the stretch on the Lakers, just because they're the closest in proximity and the flashy team. Naturally, we take some action on the Clippers, but nothing like the Lakers. So we're seeing a ton of Laker action. The other game, I tell you, that's going to be a real dogfight. We had Miami at 5, total of 228 at the Rampart and South Point. We opened this one at 4.5. So we are seeing a little action on the home team, but you do see a lot of shops have that 4.5 opener around town. So, definitely a good two-way action game, whereas the Laker game, you're going to see the one-way action on LeBron and the boys.
You bring up a good point about Jaden McDaniels. I know Rudy Gobert's suspension is going to get the headlines, but McDaniels, to me, is against this team is an even bigger loss. I didn't realize that. I was watching the Daily Wager yesterday, how much drastically the shooting percentages go down for LeBron James when McDaniels guards him as opposed to, just anybody else guarding him. It's a big, big drop-off, and there's just not many people that can guard James the way McDaniels does, so I can definitely see that. All right, early season Major League Baseball. Before I'm gonna get into your wheelhouse because the NHL is coming down the stretch there last week, but I got to ask you about the Tampa Bay Rays. 10-game winning streak now, and they were saying yesterday, well, they haven't played the best team. I don't care. You win 10 games in a row. That's significant. So, what's been the reaction on the Rays? Teams, people tend to jump on the hot teams. Nobody's hotter than Tampa out of the chute, 10-0.
Yeah, and don't they have more home runs than the opponent has runs scored?
Up until yes,
like that.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just Charlie. I mean, how monstrous is that? I mean, they're the first team to be undefeated, I believe, since, I think, Milwaukee back in the day. We're going back years and years. They're playing fabulous. So the line adjustments, when baseball sharps start to bet, Charlie, you have to make the adjustments quick and concise because baseball is a streak sport. And now with Tampa right out there getting out of the gate like this, we have to make adjustments because everybody's just putting them on the parlays every night. You're seeing the same routine. You know what it is. Yankees on the parlays with the Rays. You're seeing the Guardians because they got out of the box hot. Definitely the Astros have helped a little because, they're definitely 5-5 in their last 10 and playing 500. Dodgers, too, they haven't exploded just yet, and some of the other teams. But, when you have these streak teams like Tampa, like the Brewers off to these quick starts, you have to make adjustments because they're going to be on every parlay. They're going to be bet on the run line, and it's just been a phenomenal start. You're seeing 180 tonight, a 340 start in our neck of the woods. 540, I believe, in your neck of the woods, minus 180 versus the Boston Red Sox total of 7.5. So you're seeing already the line's almost in excess of 2-1. I'm sure it'll get bet up at game time, but just a tremendous start by this team. They're scoring massive amounts of runs. They're 7-0 at home, only 3-0 on the road. So we're going to see when they get that extended road trip how they react. They've only played 3 games on the road. Keep that in mind. Most of the other major league teams have played more, I believe almost everybody except Texas. So, let's keep an eye on it. But we make the adjustments, Charlie. They're off to a hot start. They were definitely one of the top teams anticipated in that division. And, it's a very difficult division with the Blue Jays and Yankees there as well. So it's a long season, but we're making adjustments right now, and we'll see if the team could stay healthy.
10 straight wins is impressive. 9 straight wins on the run line is really impressive. Okay, yesterday was the first day they didn't cover the run line with that 1-0 game against the Red Sox. So that's really something. All right, let me get to where you eat, where you live, man. The NHL, last few days of the regular season. Look, last week in the NBA, when we knew who had something to play for and who didn't. We were able to take advantage of a few lines there. This is right where you know exactly who's playing for what, who's got something on the line, and who's playing out the string here these last few days of the NHL regular season. So serve it up, man. We got a big card tonight in the NHL. What do you like?
Well, Charlie, I'm going to break down right off the bat. The teams in the Eastern Conference that are playing for something are the Florida Panthers, the New York Islanders, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Buffalo Sabres. Those are the 4 teams that are alive on the Eastern side, and that really doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot, as you saw Washington stat every single person and still beat the Islanders last night, Charlie. So that was definitely interesting. The West is a little more different because you have Colorado and Dallas both first place in the Central Division, and they definitely are fighting for this home ice advantage. And you're seeing how Colorado now has turned it up. Nate McKinnon and the boys have won 5 in a row. Alexander Georgiev, Cale McCall. We know that team. That team is a Stanley Cup winner. They're definitely going to be a bona fide tough out in the playoffs. They've won 5 in a row. Dallas, Peter DeBoer, former Golden Knight coach, has led them to an amazing season. They have a plus 63 goal differential and have won 4 in a row. So they're tied with Colorado for first place in that division. And the Golden Knights, I'll be attending tonight at the Fortress, are only 2 points ahead of the streaking Edmonton Oilers, who have won 7 in a row. The flashy Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, all those guys, they're just performing at an amazing level right now. Kane has been fabulous. They score goals in bunches. Just hoping, though, for those Edmonton Oilers fans that they didn't peak a little too early. And we only have one wild card up for grabs on the west side because Seattle has clinched the first wild card with a 5-game winning streak. So Winnipeg, Calgary, and Nashville are fighting it out. UC Saros was on the top of his game last night against Calgary, keeping Nashville alive within that 2 points of Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck outdueled him the other night. So we have a fabulous menu, like you said. I think the Golden Knights really want to win tonight, especially against this streaking Seattle team. But it's going to be difficult. Minus 150 at the Fortress. I'm going to lay it tonight, even though Seattle is streaking, just because I feel the Golden Knights need that home ice advantage. Mark Stone has started to skate again. That is great news, even though he was in the no-contact jersey. I'm hearing Logan Thompson is real close. We're going to see if the Golden Knights can get healthy, and they're going to rest Jack Eichel tonight. Don't get me wrong, because he's a little banged up. They definitely can be a force if they start to get really, really healthy. They're the team, Charlie, that has overachieved the whole year. So I'll lay the 150 tonight at the Fortress. Total is at 6, overshaded at 120 at the Rampart and South Point. The greatest matchup on the card is the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers. We opened Edmonton minus 120 at the Rampart and South Point. You see how much money Colorado is taking, as they are now minus 110. And Colorado is not a team to be played with, I'll be honest with you. I think they have an excellent chance in this game. I'm still not sold on Edmonton's goaltending and defense. Yeah, they could score monstrous goals. How many guys over 100 points? I believe 3 right now on the roster, which is unheard of. Plus, McDavid has eclipsed, getting into the top 20 scoring seasons of all time, which is basically just dominated by Gretzky and Lemieux. So a tremendous accomplishment for McDavid, but I like Colorado tonight. I'll lay to 110, and I'm seeing that you could get even money at several shops around town. So, that's another great matchup. Charlie, like we said, Minnesota, now they're tied with Colorado, and they're playing Winnipeg, the team that needs to win to go to the playoffs. This game, 5.5 over minus 120, could actually be an under game. The way Winnipeg plays, and Connor Hellebuck is on an awesome streak now after shutting out Nashville, this could definitely be an underplay, in my opinion. 2 tight checking teams, definitely more of the physical type of play these 2 teams bring to the table. So, I definitely think that's an underplay as well.
All right. We got
Pittsburgh.
I'm sorry.
Pittsburgh and Chicago. Pittsburgh is 550. We can't lay that. I just wanted to throw that out there, even though they need to win.
Yeah, Chicago's about done. All right, so we got the Avalanche, we got the Golden Knights, and we got the Jets in the Wild under. That's the Colucci 3-pack. Man, you're the best. We're going to talk to you on Thursday. Jimmy's taking another vacation, so I'll talk to you on Thursday. for game time. We always appreciate it, Dwayne. You're the best. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Sounds good, Charlie. Talk to you Thursday. Thanks for everything.
Dwayne Colucci at the South Point and the Rampart. We'll take a break, come back, wrap things up, take your questions here. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Infinity of Baton Rouge. Right now, you can get a quote on your vehicle and its value in less than 15 minutes from Infinity of Baton Rouge. Once you get a value on your vehicle, you can sell it to them straight outright for cash, or you can trade in on another vehicle. If you just want to have the knowledge of what your vehicle is worth, that's okay too. There's no pressure to buy. The certified pre-owned package, once again, that we did just a few weeks ago, it's just fantastic because not only are you going to get a great selection, huge inventory on the lot right now, you're going to be able to match it to the price, to the mileage, to the year, make and model, of course, that you want. And you're going to get a year's worth of prepaid maintenance. You're going to have courtesy vehicle when you do bring your car in to be serviced, and roadside assistance is included. Those vehicles have come up to inspection to the point where they are satisfied to back them with a 100,000-mile warranty. It's all part of the service on Airline Highway at Accurate Infinity of Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Ochsner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
All right. Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want it.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A couple out of the Bayou Ford chat. First of all, everybody's stealing my walks into a bar jokes. They're not my jokes, but anyway, Nookie wants to know if I'm pleased the new MLB rules have been minimally the story 10 games in. Actually, I think they've been a major story, and I like all of them. Sorry. The games are moving at a pace. I don't feel like the strategy has been I don't feel like the game has been compromised. And, yes, I don't think that stolen bases should be poison. And, no, I didn't enjoy the shift. It didn't increase my enjoyment of watching the games. Maybe it should have, but it didn't. Hitting is up, pace is up. I'm big fan. Earlier we had a question about would either the team that got the first or the second pick traded for Zion Williamson. First of all, no. Anybody that gets the pick for Victor is keeping it. The second pick, you got to match up salaries and a whole bunch of stuff. The Pelicans are not looking to trade him at this point. Zion Williamson, if he was available, which he's not, his trade value right now is a really, really difficult target to ascertain. You know what you're getting when he's on the court, but you don't know when you're getting him on the court. So, honestly, that range might be as wide as any player in the NBA right now. You're going to make a Zion wide joke? That's your call. Hunt Palmer is next. Thanks to everybody for participating. For Taylor and Mario, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. It's been Hanny Time, 104.5